Hello guys, welcome back. We need to beautify our portfolio, our e-commerce website or whatever website we want to show the world. We're going to be going from this to this. Let's dive in. So we have all our elements to display our website, portfolio, our e-commerce website. So many elements, even have some emojis. But despite that, it still looks so boring. I decided to style the body. The fact that we have put color just made the whole thing pop. So we picked all the sections. We have so many sections, handle different parts like about, skills, and other things. And then we picked all the sections and gave them one singular style. You can just say all the elements with a class name of section, or all the paragraphs, all the tables. You can give them one singular style. As soon as I picked the section and styled it, all the section got styled. So we gave it a background, but this one is not a gradient, it's just one singular color, white, and we're making it very transparent. That is why it is 0.1. But we give it a backdrop of blur. The backdrop filter is giving us an effect of blurriness to whatever is in the background. Now, my skill grid has a class name of skill grid. So I gave it a display of grid. So now when I'm doing a display of grid, it gives it a kind of grid-like look. What we are saying here in our grid template column is saying that arrange its children in columns. Min max is giving the size of the column is a minimum size of 200 pixels. Then maximum size is one part of its parents. So basically you are saying take all the children, make sure that they don't reduce lower than 200 pixels, but they cannot also be bigger than one part. So they have to share equally among their brethren. But they must not be smaller than 200 pixels. That's what min-max is doing. Auto fit does. Make sure that they are automatically fitted. We are giving a gap of 20 pixels. We are saying that children should have spaces between themselves. So don't let them stick together. Make sure that they have space between themselves. So that means before you start sharing the space between them equally, you have to first create space for gaps. So you remove gap, then you share equally. So we have styled the skill card. That is what is holding each skill inside my superpowers. The dot refers to class. So I gave it a background, padding, and then I gave it a cursor pointer. So that means that every time I hold my mouse over it, my cursor changed its style as soon as I came to the card. It became a grabbable cursor. Now my skill card, it has a transform of translate y of minus 10 pixel and scale of 1.05. So what transform changes what the element looks like. The transform transforms the element. So we already gave it a style. But then as soon as we bring about transform, we now change the style again. So we are saying we want it to move upward. Because we are saying minus 10. If I had said 10, it's going to be moving downward. But because I said minus 10, it's going to be moving upward. Translate Y is talking about vertical movement, while translate X is talking about horizontal movement. Then I also said scale. Scale is talking about getting bigger or smaller. Because I said 1.05, it means I'm making it bigger. That is 105%. If I had said 0.9, then I'm making it smaller by saying 90%. So what I have here is 1.05, so I'm making it bigger. So when you look at it, you can see that when you hover, it gets bigger. Now let's talk about hover. That's actually what we are styling. We are styling a pseudo-class. The pseudo-class is just looking like a fictitious class, not really a class that you created. It's talking about states actually of the element. So we're either talking about when it is hovering, you are hovering on it, or when it is active, or when the element is in focus. There are different kind of states. But right now, what we are styling is the hover state. So the element is sitting down, it has its own style. We're now saying that as soon as you hover on it, give it a new style. So yeah, the background changes. That is, it goes from being very transparent to lightly transparent, and then it's moves upward a little and also gets bigger. If you see it side by side, its counterpart, you see that they are no longer on the same line vertically. What I'm hovering on has shifted upward, and apart from that, it got bigger and it got whiter. I want the transformation that is happening in my card on hover to be smooth. I want the transformation to be smooth, so I'm adding a transition. The change that is happening, whether it's getting bigger or the color is changing, the change that is happening, I want to make the movement to take about 0.3 seconds. let the transformation take place over 0.3 seconds, and the background you are also changing, let it happen over 0.3 seconds, and ease the transition. There are different forms. There are different things you can style when it comes to your CSS, and there are many values that you can use. So you just tinker and you have your page pop. So when we look at it, we see that there's a 0.3 second movement. So we are easing into the transition and easing into the background color. Another thing we can add to our elements is an animation. I said CSS does some animation, JavaScript does more. So let us see the kind of animation CSS does. So I want to give it an animation called wiggle. I want the H1 to wiggle, and I want it to go over a 2-second wiggling, and I want it to ease in and out, and then continue. Infinite means it's going to be non-stop wiggling. So I've given my animation a name called wiggle, so I have to define my animation now. So now that I want to define my animation, I start with the at keyframes, then I give it the name that I want it to be, which is wiggle, as we have said before. Then we start defining. So what I've said here is that at the beginning of the animation, let this element rotate -2 degrees. As soon as the animation starts, so we are rotating, we are tilting -2 degrees at the beginning and at the end. That's what 0% and 100% is saying. 0% says at the beginning, 100% says at the end. So at the beginning, tilt to the left, and at the end, tilt to the left. But 50% is right at the center. It says tilt to the right. So that gives us the illusion that the thing is moving. We are tilting to the left, we are tilting to the right, and then we are tilting to the left. The tilting is what gives us the animation. So if you can see our page here now, my H1 is already dancing. It's tilting to the left, tilting to the right, and going back to the left. We asked it to do that infinitely, so it's going to continue tilting as soon as anybody loads the page. We told you to go through it over 2 seconds. The next thing we are styling is our H2. We gave it a position of relative. So we have different kind of positionings. We have relative, we have absolute. As soon as you position something absolute, it does not follow the structure of the page. Normally when you stack elements, the children tend to stay inside their parents. But when you make an element a position of absolute, it ignores its parents and can go and stay on its grandparents. Because that is what we have asked it to do. So the grandparents that element responds to when it has a position of absolute is the grandparent that has a position of relative. So the relative positioning controls whatever child has an absolute positioning. Now we have a pseudo element, that's like a ghost element. That's what we have here after. The pseudo class is talking about states more or less, while the pseudo element is talking about a ghost element. We tend to just use them to create things around an element. So we have the before or the after. So we are saying that after our element, put something, and that's the thing that we have put here. Content, we are putting a star right after the element itself. So I didn't have a star in my about me when I decided to use a pseudo element to give it a star. So whatever you put within that content is what shows up in the before or after of the element, whichever one you choose to use. And then we gave it a margin left. So that means we are saying that there should be space around it to the left. Another animation we want to add to our section is fading. We want it to look as if it was coming out of nothing into something. So I want to call it fading, and I want it to do that over a 1 second period, and I want it to ease. So let's define the animation. So apart from the fact that we can move in percentages like 0 to 50 to 100, we can also take from something to something. So here we are saying that we want it to go from an opacity of 0, meaning that it is invisible, to an opacity of 1, meaning that it is fully visible. And so if I load my page, you would see that the section disappears and reappears. Did you see that? So guys, we can see our portfolio or e-commerce website wriggling with border radiuses, looking circular, making them disappear and reappear, making them grow and shrink. You hover and it gets bigger. Why don't you go ahead, based on all the attributes we have discussed, style the rest of the page and drop your output in the comment section below. Can you see how beautiful it went from this plain black and white text and icons to something gorgeous. So complete this. And if you don't want to complete this, like start yours afresh, show us what you want to show the world and make it pop. Drop it in the comment section below. Let us look at it. Let us enjoy your creation. Let's marvel and let's laugh about it. It has been fun beautifying our pages. The link to the full code is going to be dropped in the comment section, so you can look through it and use it as a guide to beautify your own page. Please work on your page. You need to apply your knowledge to know. When you apply, it tends to sink. When you apply, it sinks. So see you next time when we decide to start animating our page in more elaboration using JavaScript. So guys, do not forget to like, share with other people that want to make their pages pop, that want to show their creation to the world. And please subscribe so that you can get an alert when the other series of these videos come along. See you some other time. Bye-bye.